Once, in a village nestled between the foothills of two towering mountains, there lived two young men named Jabari and Quaim. They had been inseparable since childhood, sharing laughter, secrets, and adventures. The villagers often spoke of their friendship and how they complemented each other perfectly. Like the sun and the moon, each filling in what the other lacked, Jabari was the bold, quick-thinking one, always the first to leap into action. He thrived on excitement, taking risks without a second thought. Quaim, on the other hand, was thoughtful and patient, weighing every option carefully before making a decision. He was cautious, always considering the consequences of his actions. Together, they made an unbeatable team. For Jabari's boldness balanced by Quaim's caution made them both more capable. One summer afternoon, as the sun hung high in the sky, a mysterious merchant passed through the village. His skin was weathered by years of travel and his eyes gleamed with the secrets of the world. He spun a tale for the villagers about a hidden treasure. Deep within the mountains, a treasure that could change anyone's life, but the journey to find it was not easy. He warned, to reach the treasure, one had to cross a bridge that was invisible to the naked eye, and only those with a heart full of trust could pass. The bridge does not show itself to the unworthy, the merchant said, with a sly grin. Only those who truly believe in themselves and each other will find it. The villagers chuckled, dismissing the merchant's words as the ramblings of a traveler. But Jabari and Quaim exchanged a glance, a spark of curiosity passing between. Then we must go, Jabari said, his voice filled with excitement. If there's treasure, we can bring it back to the village. Or maybe use it to change our lives for the better. Quaim hesitated, his brows furrowed in concern. But what if it's a trick? What if the bridge isn't real? Or worse, it's dangerous? Jabari waved his hand dismissively. What's life without a little risk? Besides, we've faced worse together. You and I can do anything. His grin was infectious. And soon Quaim found himself nodding in agreement. The next morning, with only a few provisions packed and their hearts full of determination, the two friends set off on their adventure. The mountain pass journey was not an easy one. The mountains loomed high, their peaks shrouded in mist, and the path was steep and treacherous. The further they climbed, the thinner the air became, and the harder the journey grew, but they pressed on, driven by the promise of treasure and the bond they shared. On the second day, after walking for hours through the dense forest, they reached a small clearing. The path ahead seemed to disappear into the mist, and the landscape around them felt strangely still, as if the world itself was holding its breath. Jabari, ever eager, took the lead. This must be it, he said, pointing toward the thick fog. The invisible bridge has to be nearby. Quaim, ever cautious, paused. But we don't even know where we're going. The merchant said the bridge only appears to those who trust. Maybe we need to stop and think for a moment. Jabari waved him off. No time for thinking. Trust is for the weak. We need to act now, before someone else finds it. Despite his reservations, Quaim followed his friend, though he kept his doubts to himself. As they ventured deeper into the mist, the air grew colder, the path became narrower, and strange noises filled the silence. The whispering wind, the rustling of unseen creatures. Quaim couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. But Jabari seemed undeterred, striding forward with determination. Suddenly, the fog parted to reveal a large, chasm-like ravine. A deep, rushing river roared at the bottom, and the only way across was a narrow, barely visible bridge of stone. However, there was something strange about it. The bridge seemed to shimmer and flicker as if it weren't truly there at all. Jabari stepped forward confidently. This must be the bridge, he said. Come on, Quaim, don't be afraid. But Quaim hesitated, his heart racing. He could see the gap, hear the rush of the river below, and yet the bridge seemed to flicker in and out of existence, as though it might disappear at any moment. I can't see it clearly, Quaim said, his voice filled with uncertainty. What if it's an illusion? What if we fall? Jabari scoffed. You're overthinking it. The bridge is real and we're crossing it. Trust me, Quaim, just walk. Quaim took a deep breath, trying to quiet the fear in his chest. He glanced at Jabari, who was already halfway across the bridge, his confident footsteps steady and unhesitating. With a sigh, Quaim stepped forward, his heart in his throat. The moment he placed his foot on the bridge, it felt solid beneath him, as if the invisible threads of trust had woven the path into reality. His body relaxed and he moved cautiously forward, one foot after the other. When he reached the other side, he turned to see Jabari waiting for him, a triumphant smile on his face. You see? Jabari said, clapping Quaim on the back. There was nothing to worry about. We did it together. Quaim nodded slowly, still processing the experience. It was real, but only because I trusted you. Jabari didn't respond, already focused on the next step in their journey. But Quaim understood now. Trust, true trust, was not just about belief in the visible. It was about believing in the invisible forces that connected them, forces stronger than fear. As they continued on, the terrain grew more difficult, the path became steep and rocky. The mist thickening once again. In the distance, they could see the outline of a cave. Its mouth dark and foreboding, they approached cautiously. "There's something inside," Quaim said, his voice low. "Let's see what it is," Jabari replied. Stepping forward eagerly, there could be treasure inside. As they entered the cave, they were met with an unexpected sight: a massive boulder blocking the path. At first glance, it seemed impossible to move. But then, as they examined it closely, they noticed an inscription etched into the stone. "Only the heart that is pure and the hands that work together can move this stone." Quaim read aloud, "It's a test of our strength and unity." Jabari grinned. "Perfect, we'll just push it together, you and me, side by side." But when they tried, the boulder didn't budge. It was as though the stone was far heavier than they had anticipated. Quaim frowned. "Something's wrong, we can't move it by brute force alone." Jabari, frustrated, pulled away and paced. "We need to try harder." "No, Jabari," Quaim said, his voice calm. "The inscription says together. We need to trust each other completely and work as one." After a moment of hesitation, Jabari stopped pacing and nodded. They stood together in front of the boulder, their hands placed side by side. Together, they pushed, not with force, but with a shared understanding and unity. As they did, the boulder slowly began to move, shifting to one side with a deep rumble. "We did it," Jabari said, astonished. Kwame smiled, his voice steady. "We did it together, trust and unity. That's the key." As the cave opened up to reveal a vast chasm, they saw the final test before them: another invisible bridge stretching across the gap. But this time, there was no shimmering or flickering. The bridge was completely invisible, as if it didn't exist at all. "Now what?" Jabari said, looking uncertain for the first time. Quaim stepped forward, his eyes steady. "This is it. This is the test. We can only cross if we trust completely, both in the bridge and in each other." Jabari looked at Quaim, then at the chasm below. Finally, with a deep breath, he stepped forward, following Quaim's lead. The moment he placed his foot on the invisible bridge, it became solid beneath him, and he felt the same strength and trust that had guided them all along. Together, they crossed the final bridge, and on the other side, they found the treasure they had been searching for: glistening gems, ancient artifacts, and riches beyond imagination. When they returned to the village, they were hailed as heroes, but the treasure, while valuable, was not the most important thing they had gained. Jabari and Quaim had learned that true strength came not from bravery or caution alone, but from the trust they had in each other. The invisible bridge had been a test, but it was their bond that had carried them across. And as they looked out over the village, side by side, they knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, they could face them together as long as they trusted each other completely.